Hello and welcome to our Wednesday webinar student leadership series. We are excited that you're here with us. We have an amazing guest and she's going to talk to us about finding her path so perhaps you can find your path. Sierra, would you set the stage for our learning today by reading the quote that you chose?
Yeah, so I'm going to share a little bit of my story today. And I had this whole perfectly planned path, and then some things had to change and some things got hard, and I had to make some different decisions. So through all that, I had to just keep turning my eyes to God. And this verse perfectly expresses that. A man's heart plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps, which at the end of the day is better than anything I could have planned. So
Thank you so much for starting us off with John 16:9. And I tell you what, for someone who is so young, and you are very young still as a junior in college, you have quite the bio already. So you have a resume here. If you would just tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since you started your college career.
Yeah, so I am a mechanical engineering student. I've always wanted to use that in the aerospace field. So I kind of started off working with Corey on this channel. So in the STEM college knowledge area, you'll find a lot of videos of little baby me with braces, which was honestly a great start. And I worked my tail off, and I ended up miraculously literally landing an internship with NASA JPL last summer, which was amazing and my dream come true, like my dream job. And so this summer I moved on, and we'll learn the details later, but I will be interning at SpaceX this summer at their launch pad in Florida, building rockets. So that is so crazy. I don't believe it either. So yeah, I don't know. I
Very
can't believe that's
fascinating.
me.
And you also are the Brooke Owens Aerospace Fellow of 2022. So that's no small feat. That is a scholarship that is revered, and only a very few a number of
Yeah,
individuals get this
50,
scholarship. Is
51
that
of
right?
us out of 51 of us out of over 1,000 applicants. So it's a networking, like connection of women in aerospace fellowship. So, and they give you the internship, which is how I got SpaceX as well.
And
So
of course, my favorite piece on this bio on your resume is the founder of the STEM College Knowledge YouTube playlist. So after this show, go ahead and check that out. And I hope that you can inspire a lot of young women to be in STEM like Sierra has already achieved. But I know it hasn't been a super easy journey. But tell us a little bit about how it all started and where we're going on your path today.
yeah, so these three words kind of outline my story in my life. So when I was a kid, I had to, you have to look around and you have to listen, you have to learn, because you need to figure out, we're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life and what you're interested in and what your goals are. So for me, that kind of started when I was 12. My dad read in the newspaper about a meteor shower called the Gemini meteor shower. It's in December every year. And he was like, Sierra, do you want to come watch this meteor shower with me at like 4 a.m? And I was like, of course. I'm like 12. So I'm like, yeah, I could wake up early in the middle of the night. And so we went out like in lounge chairs in our backyard and just looked up. And I think I saw about 75 shooting stars in an hour. It was amazing. And so that definitely sparked like an interest of space for me, and just learning about space and space travel and how that's like an actual industry right now that I can pursue. And so for any teachers or any students listening, it's all about just looking around, and maybe space is something for you, or cars or medical or art or anything like that. Is anything that sparks your interest, like try to like learn about it and listen and ask people, and investigate. So I was homeschooled, so I kind of went along my life. I liked learning about space and reading books about it, but I didn't really have any actual skills that when I got to college would be able to help me at all, because I realized through it all, I wanted to work for NASA. I wanted to be an engineering student, so that was my major. I was pretty confident on that, and I wanted to work for NASA someday. So how do I get there? I asked a ton of questions. So I asked upperclassmen, I asked professors, I asked people I knew who were engineers. And that's really the main thing, is never be afraid to ask someone a question, because they are 9 times out of 10 more than happy to help you figure out your dreams. So for me, I learned that I needed an internship to get experience. And to get an internship, I needed to join clubs. But to learn all these things, I had to use a lot of various communication things, like sending emails and using LinkedIn to message people in the workforce, and using Instagram to message influencers who, for me, there's a lot of like female engineering influencers out there, and asking them questions. And then the dreaded phone call, which I hate, and a lot of my generation.
Hey, that's my generation.
Yeah, so I had to,
Even COVID, that's made it harder for kids to
yeah,
make phone calls and get themselves out there, but you would
yeah.
still recommend that they practice?
Yeah, no, most of my interviews for things have been phone interviews, and that's something we have to get comfortable with. And like Corey, you're saying, your generation uses a ton of phone calls. Like in my jobs, I've had to use phone call more than I use a lot of other skills. So just practicing those skills. And eventually, when you use all these tools like LinkedIn, you can get a LinkedIn when you are 13 years old. So even if you have no experience to show for yourself, just use it to reach out to people and learn about dream jobs, because pretty much everyone who works ever is on LinkedIn, and you can just reach out to them and ask questions.
So
And then,
once you investigate, ask questions, and get yourself out there on LinkedIn, then what happens?
yeah, then you take action. So I investigated all the things, and so I got to college, and I learned I needed to join clubs and get relevant experience in order to land that big internship. So that was the steps that I determined to reach my goal.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You have to join a club to get relevant experience?
Yeah, on top of grades and everything else engineering students have to do.
Not just engineering students. I think a lot of students think that they get to
Yeah.
college and they have to study hard. I mean, maybe they have some social fun, but why clubs? Why are clubs important to taking action?
Yeah, because it's something you put on your resume, and maybe if you don't have any experience at all, you can't really get a job very easily. So it's that first step that shows companies and other places that you're working hard and you're trying to learn things, and it's important for community as well. So I joined GCU's Society of Women Engineers, known as SWE, and I, like the girl in the picture, I learned how to use the machining shops and all these things, and that's what helped me build experience. Eventually, I landed a job at that machining shop, um, and was just working my way up, trying to find opportunities, and choosing what was hard, because, like as we stated, like all students have so much going on, and you can't always do everything perfectly. Tragically, even though I would love to. Corey can attest to me always being like, "What? I'm not doing this thing perfectly."
Well, when it's hard, I think it's even more important. And I know that you're so sweet putting my face on here, but action does need encouragement. And I agree with you that we all need a mentor. We need someone that we can call and say, "Hey, am I on the right path? Is that really how you felt?" And I know I'm not your only mentor, but I do appreciate you throwing my picture up here. Tell us
Yeah,
about why encouragement, maybe for the teachers that are on here.
yeah. So for me, there were a lot of times, especially on online school, when you're especially lonely and you were like, "What am I doing?" Where I honestly didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe I was good enough. I didn't believe that I was doing. There were so many people who knew more than me, and my mentor, who happens to be Corey, would like encourage me, and she would believe in me when no one else would, even myself. And that is absolutely vital for anyone trying to grow up and achieve their dreams. And so for the teachers out there watching, for the students, find that person who's going to believe in you, or be that person who's going to believe in kids, because you might be the only one telling them that, hey, they can do this. I can still remember my high school teacher who encouraged me to be an engineer. I would not be here without her.
Oh,
Um,
and
and
wouldn't she be so excited to see this
yeah,
offer letter from
yeah,
JPL?
and yeah, so continuing my story, I got along and I did all this experience, and so eventually someone told me, like, you gotta apply for jobs, go to these career fairs. I think it was Corey. I went to the SWE career fair, and I did all these interviews, and some how I landed this NASA internship, which blew my mind. I was a sophomore at the time. I was 19 years old. I was like, there is literally no way this is happening. And so I worked really, really hard for that, and I couldn't believe it. But I also took the time to enjoy life. So around that time when I got this internship, my sister, who's my best friend, her name is Sky, she was cheering me on through this whole time, and she was one of those mentors and cheerleaders that I needed to push me through. So she just graduated from GCU in communications, and literally a month later, she got married. And so it was really special to see someone in my personal life, someone who I've gone on countless adventures with, and talked every night, and she was my best friend. So just watching her go about her life and reaching her dreams inspired me to keep going on mine, and just kind of growing a deeper relationship with her helped me and motivated me to get through my real story. So this has all been great and snazzy and fun, and it looks super easy when I'm
It
telling you.
does. Like before we got to this slide, I was like, okay, that's Sierra. She's amazing. Everybody knows it. But
Yeah,
behind every amazing individual, there's also the real story. So
the real story.
tell us a
So
little bit about your challenges and obstacles.
So, oh yeah, like I was saying, all of this sounded really nice, right? I'm sure you're watching this and you're like, oh, like she's so cool. I could never do that. That was me, okay? I was sitting here, sometimes sobbing on the floor on these Zoom classes for college, drowning in homework. I would get terrible grades. I was trying to keep balance all these clubs and jobs. I ended up having to quit my job the end of my sophomore year, the machining shop job that I loved. I actually cried in front of my boss when I had to quit. I was so sad about it. Um, COVID school was rough. I got a C on one of my physics midterms, and I was just so torn up about it as someone who tries to get really good grades. And it was tough. I was seriously not in a good place all of this time, my sophomore year and beyond. I was struggling, and then I was just struggling with a bunch of things, which led me to realize I needed to transfer schools. So I ended up like completely uprooting, and now I'm at ASU, and that was like almost traumatizing. I like had to leave all my friends, and it was a really good decision. I'm glad I did it, but it's terrifying. I'm now at this even bigger school with no one that I know, and I'm have to repeat classes. I had to like jump down a year because of credits, and it was really hard, and I was already like not doing well, and then the worst thing that happened in my life happened right in the middle of it. um, so in October 2021, my sister died in a car accident, and I had to stop everything. I had to stop clubs. I had to stop school. I literally had to not even go to class or not do homework everywhere. I had to put everything on pause. And that was by far the most traumatizing thing I'll ever go through. So I don't want you for a second to see anyone who seems to be successful and seems to be doing so much better than you, to think that they never have doubts and they never have fears and they never lose motivation, because in that moment I did not think I could go on. And
Life just stopped for you.
like, yeah, it literally stopped. It's only been what, 4 months since that's happened. And my life is still stopped right now. I'm still not doing school. I'm still taking some time off to heal. I'm struggling with a little bit of circumstantial depression right now. I miss my sister every day. I think about her all the time. And I'm so thankful for my faith for pulling it through, for Jesus taking me and giving me hope. And I know where she is. She was also a Christian. And that's given me like the hope I need to go on. But I'm just like working part-time right now and nothing to do with aerospace, just preparing. And so,
But you're giving back right now, telling your story, and we appreciate that so much, Sierra, because I
yeah,
know how hard this is for you to come on, and I know that you have this personality that you will persevere and you'll be strong and you'll get that good grade. But all of a sudden, when life stops, we just have to find that strength.
yeah,
So you're still finding it, and I appreciate your time and your words of wisdom.
yeah. So I'm still in the season right now where I'm trying to figure out what I really want to do and what I care. When something like this happens to you, it really shakes you to your core, and you're like, all right, why am I doing what I'm doing? And I'm sad. I'm sad about her every day. I think about her constantly. Her picture is on the back of my phone, of us at her wedding. Oh, it's not focusing, but and it's people, I've always tried to be an optimistic person, but it's like, this is one of the real times where I'm like, I don't think I can do this by myself. I don't think I can find that hope. And so this verse, it says, so you have sorrow now, but I will see you again and you will rejoice and no one can rob you of that joy. That's my hope. I know in me that Christ has saved my sister and he saved me. And so I don't have to despair. And so I cling to that every day, literally. And God comes through for me, because literally 2 days after my sister passed away, I am a mess. 2 days, I get a phone call telling me that I had been accepted into SpaceX internship program, which was the craziest low and the craziest high coupled together in 2 crazy, chaotic days.
Amazing how life works.
Yeah, it was crazy because like my sister was my biggest cheerleader. I was telling her all about my interviewing processes and she was so proud of me when I made it into NASA. And it was almost bittersweet when I made it in, because she would have been my first call. And I had to be like, all right, what do I do with this now? So I'm on this journey now of really just focusing on how I can help others. That's why I'm here. I want to use my story to help inspire all of you. And when life gets real and it gets tough, that we're here to give back to each other and to help each other and build each other up. So I'm here and I'm going to go to SpaceX and I'm going to work my hardest and I'm going to be a build engineering intern. So I get to literally build rockets. This one's called Starship, if you've heard of it. It is the biggest rocket ever. And so, yeah, sometimes life isn't what you think.
Oh my gosh, Sierra, I can't tell you how excited I am for you, and yet my emotions are high and low all at the same time. You just
Yeah.
mentioned something about your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about this lovely piece of art.
Yes, so this is me being an engineering major. Art is not my strong point, which I think perfectly illustrates everything. So on the green was probably what you thought my life was like starting this. I had this beautiful resume put up and this great headshot that I took. And it just looks like I started here and I went whoop, 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 and now I'm working at SpaceX and everything's great. But the reality is it's not like that at all. I started with not knowing anything and jumbling around and getting C's and working like COVID happening my freshman year, and my sister passing away recently, and then I got to NASA, and then I got into the Brooke Owens Fellowship, which is this prestigious fellowship that I am with a bunch of females in aerospace, where I can reach out to them and have support, and get connected with mentors high up in the industry and like work at SpaceX through that. And so those are like the epitomes of my success and what everybody sees, but no one sees the hard stuff. And that's what I wanted to show you guys, is like when you guys are struggling with depression or anxiety or imposter syndrome. That's something that I struggle with a lot. Sometimes I don't feel good enough. I feel like I don't know anything and I'm still struggling and I don't know what I'm doing here. Everyone else seems smarter than me. When I'm sitting there doing my homework and Johnny's over there finished it already, and I'm like, how am I so stupid? It's really getting that encouragement to keep pushing you through the squiggles, to get to the end, because you will get there if you keep looking, you keep trying, you keep pulling yourself back up, and sometimes you need someone else to pull you back up. You'll eventually get to your goals, and sometimes your goals aren't what you think they were at the beginning, but you end up there anyway and so content.
I like that. Sometimes our goals are not what we thought they were, and so it's okay to change. Wow, that's really profound. Thank you, Sierra.
Yeah. So I want to end with something my sister said once. It's I've touched on a little bit, but my faith is really what's gotten me through this challenging horribleness of losing her. Um, and so she said this: remember that this is not our home. Remember that people we pass each day are equally deserving of dignity. Remember that we are called to love God and love others. Remember, we have nothing to fear when we are in Christ. And so getting that encouragement and remembering that we're here not for ourselves, but for each other and to glorify God with our talents and abilities. That's how I try to live my life. I'm trying to become an engineer, to use my talents to glorify God and to inspire other people and to love on other people and to help other people like you guys. And so in honor of my sister, I wanted to share you guys with this.
I love it. And in honor of your sister, you gave me that awesome phone call that said, how can I give back? And for someone who is a founder of our STEM college knowledge, I think it's only fitting that you are here doing a Wednesday webinar expert series on student leadership and how you, as a junior in college, are showing such great leadership. And you're doing it on, you know, with the help of your sister, her spirit, her love, what she gave to you, and boy, will you're already giving it back, and we just appreciate you so much, Sierra. So thank you for what you've already given to us. We sure hope, folks, that you were able to take something away from this talk today. And I know that Sierra is happy to get in touch. Her LinkedIn will be in the show notes so that you can connect with Sierra Malmberg, future space engineer, rocket builder. Who knows what?
Anytime.
I love it. Who knows what's next? And how kind of you to allow anyone to message you. And same as those other female inspirational speakers that you've gotten involved with in space and in your journey. And I want you all to know that our why, Sierra talked about having a why and a strong why at that. Ours is to empower, educate, and inspire our community so they take action to fulfill their purpose and to serve others. Sierra, we are just so excited that you were able to come on. I know this is hard for you and hard for you to talk about it so quickly after it happened. And we know that your time is valuable, this healing time, this precious time where you are giving back. And we thank you for giving back. And we thank you for the outreach that you have already provided and will continue to provide in the future. God bless you. Thank you. Till next time. Bye-bye.